I haven't really, I didn't really have a chance to think about it too much. I know I didn't want to be emotional. I knew it was a game that we wanted to win, so I was focused on winning and preparing with my teammates. Um, the opportunity to walk out with my family was beautiful. I was with my mom, my dad, my two brothers, and those are the people who nurtured me. You know, that's my foundation. So having them on my side, showing them that I've made them proud, was important. But for that split second, you know, that was my hooray. And after that, I was really focused on the game, and I just feel like we got so much basketball left. You know, so until it's all over, I told the guys, I said, I'm not gonna cry on senior night. I said, I'm not gonna cry when the season ends, period. I said, but I'll cry in the summer when it's time for me to move out my apartment and it's time for me to move on and do something else in the next phase of my life. So I'm holding the tears for a pretty long time.
Is it emotional for you, Frank?
Yeah, it's really emotional for me because my fiance is here, but I didn't. My mom and my dad didn't have the opportunity to come because of how badly the country is right now due to election. So it was, you know, it weighs heavy on my heart, but at the same time, I'm just excited to move forward to the next phase of my life.
How tough is a game like tonight where you guys, fought back to 6, 7 points multiple times, but just kind of weren't able to get over that hump?
I feel like we just keep showing ourselves that we can beat a lot of the teams, if not every team in this conference. Um, got a lot of things that we have to work on, you know, in the last 5 minutes or last 2 minutes, shooting ourselves in the foot with turnovers at the end of the game or even at the beginning. But um, we feel like we see the light at the end of the tunnel as far as Fort Worth and having an opportunity to go out there and play. And we got to make sure that we just come in focused and wanting to just, you know, keep trying to get better and having an opportunity to win.
You came out particularly hot. You had, I think, your team's first 8 points. Was that partly the emotion of having family there or being your last home game, or were you looking for your shot more for any reason?
Well, I was prepared to play. I'm usually prepared to play, and I sometimes I settle a lot, you know. And the aggression of me getting to the basket, I think I shot about, I think it says 8 free throws. And the aggression kind of opened up the game for me. I started off driving the ball early, and some threes came my way. And I'm just trying to figure out how we can really get it going for myself and for the team all together so we can make a push in Fort Worth. So early on, but I got to finish late.
What was Coach like in the locker room before the game? Did he say anything to you guys and the other seniors about this one being your last one at Moody?
Yeah, he said that, but at the same time, he also said we should just, there's a lot to take in, and we should just focus on the game tonight.
What did you think of Samuel tonight? He had 14 points, 11 rebounds, a couple of assists, a couple of steals, but it looked like he also had big plays, hustle plays. I was curious what you thought of him and where this ranked among his better games this year.
I think you have to go back and check the last 5 or 6. I think he's had a really good stretch. So to see him get into a groove is exciting. As his roommate, I see him getting up early in the morning. I see him leaving the house around 9:30 p.m. to get to the gym and trying to get up shots. And it's working out for him. You know, I want to see it work out for the better, and that's what he's doing. So he's had a really good stretch of games. We got to give him some help in every category because, you know, instead of points, he's rebounding the ball, he's assisting the ball, and he's shooting a really high percentage night in, night out. So he needs a little bit more help.
You obviously had a familiar face on the other side tonight. I know you saw Kendrick at the first game up there in Memphis, but what's it like playing against a guy that was your teammate before?
I mean, it feel good, but at the same time, it's just like it is what it is. It's on the other side, and we just gotta go out there and just play harder than them and win. But unfortunately, tonight it didn't come out the way we wanted. But I mean, it was still a good experience, and it feel good to play with him again on the like to be on the court playing against him. I mean, it feel really good sometimes. It's like how I put it. It's kind of emotional. You just want to get in his head, but at the same time, we just want to stay focused on the game.
What would you guys like to tighten up between now and Sunday for Cincinnati? Sunday?
It is.
Yeah.
We're gonna go and we're gonna wake up in the morning. We're gonna get our first look in on Cincinnati. We were just talking in the locker room, and this is the longest stretch that we haven't played the team in the second game. So we think we played them really, really early January, and we're just now seeing them on the last game of the season. So you really got to go back and check the film, and um, remember how they play basketball. They got some really good guards. I know. Um, we want to go in and defend though. We came out early. I think Memphis started 9 for 11, and we were up 12 to 11. Or we were up 12 to 11, and we looked back up later in the first half, and they're shooting 9 for 11. And we were still in the game all first half, and we really hadn't gotten any stops. So if I could tell you anything for Cincinnati, we want to come out and get some stops and play some defense. And it's easy to say, but we got to go out and do it. Myself in the forefront.
Yeah, obviously a disappointing outcome. I thought in the first half we had the appropriate level of energy. We just weren't channeling it defensively to start the game. We just couldn't get stops, and they were shooting some 68% or something like that in the first half, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 68%. So the fact that we got connected, had it at 6 a couple of times with the ball, and also had an open 3 to cut it to 4, and then just couldn't make enough plays and take care of the ball enough to close the gap. And credit to those guys. They're a good team. They did a good job.
Frank and Zach were talking about this being their last game in Moody Coliseum. What was it like for you as you got ready for your first senior class's last game? What were your emotions like before the game tonight and even in the days leading up to it?
Well, the prevailing thought in my mind all week has just been a sense of gratitude towards those guys because, we've had a lot of disappointments throughout the course of the year. And in particular, Darius and Frank have not played very much. But their approach each day as teammates and as leaders and as, what I like to call grown-ups has allowed us to continue to stay connected and move the needle forward and build a foundation. And they didn't necessarily have to be that way, and they have been. And so they've allowed us to kind of get better as the year has gone on. And even though we haven't always had the results, we've generally had the investment and engagement and connectedness. And I give those two guys a lot of credit. And I'm coaching these guys for the first time, and here FA is. He gets on campus in August, and he's become a leader for us. He was frustrated tonight, but rightfully so. But and Zach, you guys have, Zach is phenomenal. So it's been a joy. Like I will listen. I got a lot of confidence about where we're going with the program, but I will look back on those guys' time here with joy, because I think they've really helped us to establish what it is I think that I know we're going to become. So gratitude.
Tonight you talked about it, but how positive is it to see them make that second half push to get it to 6, 7, and then kind of frustrating for them that drop off, and I think 2 points, 4 points in the final 9 minutes of the game.
Yeah, definitely some plays we'd like to have back. Some shots. Maybe we rushed. I was really proud tonight of the performance that Ricardo had. Loved his energy. Took a charge. I don't remember him taking one in practice. And he put his body in there and had one. He got on the floor for a loose ball. Made a couple shots. A great sign of growth from him. So I was particularly proud of him, and he had a lot to do with the run that we made. And in general, always proud that the guys stay in the fight. And then there's always that point in the game where there has to be a level of belief. I think we talked about this a little bit at the Houston game. Like, really playing to win the game and really believing you can do it, in those moments because we've had so many disappointments. So I think that kind of creeped in there. during that time.
The shooting sort of fell off in the second half a little bit. Was that simply a matter of sometimes your shots don't fall, or maybe some tired legs at the end, or did Memphis make defensive adjustments that frustrated your guys?
I think maybe a combination of all of those things. Pretty good checklist that you just came up with right there. And yeah, I mean, they got some length and the trapping and it's disruptive and such. And I think one of the things that they did was that they did a great job of is they made it difficult for FA to get involved, and we've relied on him so much. He's almost like, you know, not a point center, but that getting him post touches, he's gotten so much better at passing it, and then one-on-one being able to score in the post. And he didn't get a lot of those touches tonight. And I think that in the second half, he kind of settles us down when he gets touches, and we tried to run some stuff to get it to him, but that's where they did a really good job of keeping him from affecting the game the way he's capable of.
Kendrick Davis is a player that you kind of have to be ready for anyway with his talent level. Was there any additional, I know you played them once, but him coming back here, was there any additional conversations about emotions or anything with that, with him coming back here? Are your guys handling that with, you know, a guy that some of them are familiar with?
Not really. You know, I thought they handled it when we were there, and I thought they handled it pretty good here, and he handles it obviously well. You know, he's not, I don't know him that well personally except for my interaction back in the spring, but he's got a lot of poise, and he's a real competitor, and he doesn't force things. He doesn't try to impose himself on the game, you know, doesn't overdo it, and very efficient. And so great lesson for our guys. You know, all of these things are great learning opportunities for us. I think we'll take a lot away from this.
You're obviously thinner in the backcourt. Jefferson's been out several games now, and then didn't see Emery tonight. Do you have an update on either one, and will either one of them be back either for Cincinnati or for the conference tournament?
There's a possibility Emery could practice on Saturday and be ready and give us some added depth. He's just under the weather, and we didn't want him around the guys and to have anything run through the team, so we kept him away from the team. But he was down and out, so the doctor told him to stay away. And Jeff is out, you know, so we don't anticipate having him back.
Trip to Cincinnati, I think it was Zach that mentioned, you know, for teams that you've played twice, this is probably the biggest gap in that. Is that beneficial from what you've done? Is that something that maybe the first game doesn't have as much impact? Do you take a different approach?
The familiarity is always good, and then when you start examining the game, you try to refresh them on some of the concepts, what we did well, what we didn't do well, and then what have they changed since then. And obviously that works both ways. We're doing some things differently, and then you know, but that is a game that we do have a relatively vivid memory of because it was such a close game that came down to one possession. And so we'll revisit it starting tomorrow and try to turn the page. And these guys have been pretty good. I think they're really disappointed today, so we got to get them off the canvas and get back to it.
When the players were here, I asked them about Sam Williamson's performance tonight. He sort of filled up the stat sheet again, and then also had some very visible plays, diving on the floor or big dunks and that kind of thing. And Zach was very quick to say he didn't have a good game tonight. He's had a stretch of very good games recently. And I'm curious where Sam is compared to what you thought he would be when you got him to join the roster.
You know what? I thought when Sam was on his official visit, you know, I knew a lot about his background. I thought he and I made a connection, and sometimes you make a connection in the recruiting process that you don't really have when you coach somebody. Sometimes it just, you know, you feel good about one another, and then when you're around each other every day, it's not the same. And I think there's a mutual belief in one another that he and I have. I certainly have a belief in him that I think has allowed him to try to persevere through some of the disappointing play that he might feel because he's got a high standard of himself. And I think I'd like to believe that my confidence in him has allowed him to do that and come out on the other side and play to a closer to the standard that he has for himself. And I think that's what you're starting to see, where he could have a game like that and Zach say, well, that's not his best. And I do think his best is yet to come.
Is there the struggles on the road and everything? Is there any added importance of trying to win a road game before going into a neutral site tournament, or is it just importance of winning a game to take momentum, or just have positive things happen on Sunday?
Yeah, I think the big thing is the bounce back. You know, I think we've been good at that. I didn't think we were as good for 40 minutes tonight in terms of being, you know, connected. You know, there was some frustration with stuff. But, you know, I said to these guys on, today's Thursday, right? Tuesday. I thought Tuesday was the first time in a while that we didn't have a great practice. And what I said after that practice is, man, you guys have been so good that I'm just going to chalk this up as a bad day. And then we came back yesterday. We had a good day, and I think we had some good moments tonight, but it wasn't our best effort, and I thought we were trending that way. And I think some of the recent disappointments, starting with the Wichita State game, the double overtime, like they've been a turn the page, right back on the horse, and fell off the horse a little bit tonight. And so the challenge is to come back and do that, and then the tournament, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.